With Dehancer Pro, you can quickly and accurately drop on a film simulation and get a multitude of very authentic, classic film looks. You could also spend a little bit more time custom tweaking it for a modern film look. Or even do a 1980s style short feature. I'm going to put up my 10% discount code on the screen now, as well as the description below. That's EricNilson10 for 10% off Dehancer Pro. Now, why do I use this program? It's because it gets me an incredibly good looking image while saving me a lot of time. And it is a all-in-one film simulation tool that I have a huge amount of customizability with for when I want to deep dive and really dial in a specific look for a professional project. So let me quickly show you exactly what I'm talking about. And I do have both the full release and the version 7 beta program that I am involved in a little bit and giving them some feedback. It is incredible because let me just show you right now. So here's the original, right? You have basically full customization, and whenever you do a different film style, it adjusts your custom settings to build out that film preset, right? Well, basically version 7 is taking that, but also adding in some really handy basic drop downs. So do you want to simulate 35mm ISO 250? Yes, click it. Do you want to simulate the 35mm or Super 35 halation? Click it on, use the drop down. I want it a little bit cleaner. Let's go for that IMAX look. Let's go 70mm, right? Or you still have full customization and you can start with a starting point, right? So I can go to Super 35. That's where I want to start. And now now it has basically under the custom tab, which is currently hidden, it has adjusted all the custom settings to give you that drop down click and it's ready to go 35mm halation look. But if we go into customization, now we go back to being able to fully dial this in, use our mask mode to see what is or is not being affected. And it's incredible. You have the same amount of customization and flexibility, but you can skip ahead and say, you know, my base look wants to be 35mm. Now let me go in there and dial it. Or my base look is going to be IMAX. Now let me go in there and dial it in. So that is huge. That's coming. Now let's quickly take a peek at the different film options. This is a huge assortment. Everything from stuff that was never in motion picture style, like Cinestill, which is, as you guys probably know, Eastman Kodak 50D with the rim jet removed so that you can C41 process it. You also have Velvia. You also have C200, Natura. You've got Superia, from all those from Fujifilm. You've got Color Plus, Ektar, Gold. So they've kind of gone the kitchen sink route as far as throwing everything they have at it. They're not going to limit you on only being able to use motion picture looks. So you can put a Portra 400 look on, and this is going to go great if, for instance, you're doing wedding video and it's going to need to match a Portra 400-esque look that you're delivering on the photos. And something else that is huge is that we can actually use this to convert log footage. So I'm going to drop my Dehancer Pro. Again, I'm on the Dehancer Pro 7 beta, which is about to be full release for everybody. Input, instead of Rec 709, because this is not converted or color graded, let's go choose camera. Let's go down to Fujifilm. I shot with an X-T4, which has the same processor image sensor as the X-T3. So let's go X-T3, and the format was F-Log. And yes, you can convert from Rec 709 directly over to look just fine. So you get to choose your input source appropriately, whether it's already converted or it's a log format that you're going to convert. And now just look at how huge these time savings are. And I mean, you can go up here to, let's find my favorite black and white motion picture film, Double X. Oh my gosh, does that look good. I will say it has a little bit of a tint to it. You can see down here in our waveform scopes, we've got some separation. And so that means we've got colors, mostly green from what I can see. So let's take the saturation down to 0. Now we have replicated double X. And then now you get to go in here, you get to mess with your black point, white point if you want to. You can make it look like it's been on print. So if we wanted it to look like it's printed on Kodak 2383 print film, click that. Now it's going to replicate as if it's actually come out of a printer, versus this is the non-printed version, the linear version. You can change your color heads. So whenever you go to print, replicate print, now over here on your color head, we can adjust if we want these colors to push around in different ways. Now you're not going to see that on this desaturated black and white. So let me jump back over here. On my color head, now I can say I want it to lean more yellow than blue. And let me enable that. And a little bit more green and more cyan. Now this looks horrible, so don't go that crazy. But instead of adjusting your white balance, well, now we can just go a little -2. Give it a little bit of more yellow, a little bit less blue, but don't actually alter the white balance. That's incredible that you have that sort of option. And then you can further dial it in by saying, I want this to take effect in the shadows heavy, not the midtones, not the highlights. And just obviously I went way overboard on that edit, but just to give you guys an idea of how you can really dial in. There's a huge variety from presets to global settings, and then really fine grain settings. You can adjust your halation, bloom. I love the bloom tool. I love the film grain tool, because while you're in here, it's not just dropping a film grain. You get to select the size, which is how large these clumps are going to be, or how fine, the amount, which means how much of this grain is going to be present, and it acts realistically. You can see it sort of washes out the image when you get real wild and crazy with the grain, like real grain does. It actually reduces the resolution of the image, and you can bump or lower your resolution, sort of like a Gaussian blur on top of your resolution. And now you get to adjust how much grain is affecting the shadow, the midtones, and the highlights. Usually with color negative film, your midtones are most affected. So now we could say we want 50 on the midtones and then 25 on shadows and highlights. Chroma shift. So now we can say, do we want it to also alter the way that the colors are interpreted in relation to the film, or leave it alone and only basically imprint the grain, but don't modify the chroma shift with the grain? And you can say, is it going to replicate a positive or a negative style? So do we want that classic cubic style negative grain, or do we want more of a T-grain style positive with your halation? We can go to custom, right? Now we can go to mask mode, and we can see what the halation is affecting. We can change our source limiter. We can change the background gain. We can change the smoothness, the diffusion, all of this stuff. It's spectacular, the amount of flexibility, and the fact that you get to see it in a mask. What is getting, now we're looking at only the halation, and we can decide how we want to adjust it. Same with your bloom. Let's go custom. Let's enable it. Let's turn on masks. Now with the mask, we can dial in exactly how we want the bloom to look, and then turn off the mask and see it's applied to the image. All this different stuff, and you can generate a LUT with your final look. And then if your computer's having a little bit of problems, this is a very processor intensive plugin, so you can do it normal fast. I usually edit in normal fast, and then whenever I go to export, I'll come over and adjust it over to high quality and finish that off. And you can disable all tools right at the bottom and reset everything. They are increasing the price a little bit. The price is going to go from $399 to $449, so it's going up about $50. But in my opinion, if you are a professional, this is going to be put into your professional workflow. It's going to pay for itself super quickly. It did for me. I've used it on a lot of projects because of the amount of time it's saving me and the look that I'm getting in addition to that time savings. And now, as I guess a special treat, take a peek at this about 2-minute long short feature that I did, the Dehancer Pro 6 on it, from whenever I full-blown purchased Dehancer before me and Dehancer got together to provide you guys with, again, this 10% discount code on the screen now and in the description below. Take a look at this. Thank y'all so much. Subscribe, and I love you guys. Goodbye.